Saddam Hussein was the leader of Iraq who ruled with an iron fist and was ultimately executed for his crimes. He held absolute power, but his cruelty was overshadowed by his eldest son, Uday Hussein. Uday was a man completely detached from reality, consumed by his sadistic tendencies. His twisted appetite for control and violence made him one of the most feared figures in Iraq. Many young women were forced into his presence, and the way some of them ended their lives due to the unbearable pain and humiliation remains one of the most horrifying aspects of his story. This is the full story of Uday Hussein, a man who turned brutality into a way of life, and the shocking details of his personal history. Saddam Hussein's rule and family. Saddam Hussein ruled Iraq from 1979 to 2003. Under his leadership, Iraq experienced both economic growth and ruthless oppression. The country flourished due to oil exports, but at the same time, Saddam crushed his opponents, waged wars, and ruled with absolute authority. His family lived above the law, enjoying immense wealth and privilege while ordinary Iraqis lived in fear. Saddam was married at least twice and had 6 children. His first marriage was to his cousin, Sajida Talfa, the daughter of his uncle and mentor. Their union was arranged when Saddam was just 5 years old and Sajida was 7. It was a marriage of duty and political alliance rather than love. Over the years, they had 5 children together, including their eldest son, Uday. Uday Hussein's early life. As a child, Uday seemed normal. Teachers praised his intelligence, and there were no obvious signs of the monster he would become. However, growing up in Saddam Hussein's household meant witnessing unimaginable horrors. Uday was exposed to public executions and acts of extreme violence from a young age. Unlike most children who would be traumatized, Uday was fascinated. He played with deactivated grenades and found pleasure in cruelty. During his school years, he was intelligent but defiant. He ignored rules and did whatever he wanted. When a teacher tried to discipline him for bringing his girlfriend to class, the teacher mysteriously disappeared. To this day, no one knows for certain what happened, but many believe Uday was responsible. Had he been born into a normal family, Uday might have turned out differently. But as the son of Iraq's dictator, he quickly realized that he was untouchable. He had absolute power with no consequences, and this fed his darkest impulses. The split between Uday and Qusay. As Saddam's eldest son, Uday was expected to be his successor. However, his uncontrollable temper and sadistic nature made him unfit to rule. Saddam saw his younger son Qusay as more disciplined and reliable. Qusay was entrusted with military power, overseeing Iraq's Republican Guard and Special Security Organization, SSO, while Uday was given lesser roles, such as chairman of the Iraqi Olympic Committee and Iraq Football Association. Even in these positions, Uday abused his power. The brothers never got along. Uday was furious that he was passed over in favor of Qusay. He dreamed of taking over Iraq one day and ruling with even more brutality than his father. Uday Hussein's cruelty in sports. As the head of Iraq's Football Federation, Uday used his position to terrorize athletes. If the national team won, he showered them with rewards. If they lost, they faced brutal punishments. Players were tortured with electric shocks, starvation, and imprisonment in underground cells. Many were left permanently injured. Terrified of his wrath, Iraq's top athletes began fleeing the country. Unlike his father, who used brutality to maintain control, Uday inflicted suffering purely for his own pleasure. He ruled those around him with terror. A minor mistake or an unintended insult could lead to savage beatings, imprisonment, or even death. Those who worked for him lived in constant fear. The 1988 murder that changed everything. One of Uday's most infamous acts occurred in 1988 at a lavish party honoring Suzanne Mubarak, the wife of Egyptian President Hosni Mubarak. In front of horrified guests, Uday murdered his father's personal valet and food taster, Kamel Hana Giojeo. Some believe he did this at his mother Sajida's request, but the real reason was personal. Gio had introduced Saddam to his second wife, Samira Shabandar. Uday saw this as an insult to his mother and killed Giojeo in revenge. For the first time, Saddam was furious with his son. As punishment, he imprisoned Uday, fed him only bread and water, and even ordered the destruction of his prized luxury car collection. However, the punishment didn't last long. Uday was soon released and exiled to Switzerland as an assistant to the Iraqi ambassador. But his violent nature continued to cause trouble, and within 6 months, he was forced to return to Iraq. the assassination attempt in 1996. In 1996, Uday was ambushed in Baghdad by a group of gunmen. He was shot multiple times with at least 2 bullets lodging in his spine. Though he survived, he was never the same. He walked with a noticeable limp and was in constant pain. Some even speculated that the attack left him impotent. This only made him more paranoid and cruel. Uday's abusive relationships. Despite marrying 3 times, none of Uday's marriages lasted. His violent temper and abusive nature drove each of his wives away. His first marriage was arranged by Saddam to improve his reputation, but it quickly ended in disaster. His second and third wives also fled from his cruelty. Instead of stable relationships, Uday indulged in affairs and one-night stands, using his power to force women into his company. Those who rejected him faced severe consequences, including beatings, imprisonment, or even death. The darkest side of Uday Hussein. One of Uday's most feared habits was crashing weddings and demanding the bride for himself. Families were powerless to stop him. He also had a personal body double, Latif Yahya, who later revealed the horrors he witnessed. Latif was forced to undergo surgery to look like Uday and attend events in his place. He saw firsthand how Uday kidnapped, tortured, and ruined lives for his own amusement. One of Uday's most infamous victims was Ilham Ali Al-Naimi, Miss Iraq. After rejecting him, she was abducted and held captive for weeks. When she was finally freed, Uday spread false rumors that she was a prostitute, leading to her father killing her in an honor killing. Uday's sadism extended to his parties, where he forced guests to drink excessive alcohol. Those who passed out were thrown into a cage with a rabid chimpanzee, which would tear them apart. Uday's obsession with luxury cars. Uday had a passion for luxury cars, owning thousands of stolen vehicles. During Iraq's invasion of Kuwait in 1990, he looted Kuwaiti dealerships, adding Ferraris, Lamborghinis, and Rolls-Royces to his collection. Even as Iraq suffered under sanctions, he continued his lavish lifestyle while ordinary Iraqis starved. The end of Uday Hussein. In 2003, after the US invasion of Iraq, Uday and Qusay went into hiding in Mosul. On July 22, 2003, US forces surrounded their villa and launched a 6-hour assault. Both brothers were killed in the attack. Iraqis did not mourn Uday's death. He had caused so much suffering that his name became a symbol of cruelty and excess. In the end, the man who had terrorized so many died unloved, forgotten, and alone. What shocked you most about Uday Hussein's story? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content. Thank you for watching.